proud of. They were just great. And then people that impressed me was a guy like Monsoon, who was 410, 420 pounds, and yet one time we wrestled for over an hour to curfew in Madison Square Garden. And I was impressed with that because a man of his size, to be able to move as well as he did and to have the stamina that he did to go that long, I was very, very impressed with that. And also I was very impressed with some of the matches I had with Killer Kowalski, because he was like a machine. He was always in such great shape, and we had a number of one-hour matches, and I was very, very impressed with him. And I liked Hans Mortier, because when I wrestled him, we did beautiful. It was nothing but good wrestling, wasn't any rough house stuff or anything. It was just wrestling, and so I enjoyed the heck out of that. Just to say, to pick one particular match, I don't know if I could do that, because in different ways I was impressed with each and every one of these different people.
Dan, you want to take the next
Did you ever end up in the ring with Luthez?
Yes, I wrestled Luthez in Toronto, Canada. I'm trying to think of the year. It might have been I was a rookie, 1960, I think it was. Yeah, well, 60 or 61. I'm not positive, but that's the only time I ever wrestled Luthez. We had a good match, I might add, too. We went for about 45 minutes. But I thought, for a guy who was as experienced as he was, and for me not to be quite nearly as experienced, because like I said, I was a rookie, I kind of felt proud. I thought it was a very good match.
What is your memory of working Pedro Morales in Shea Stadium?
It was great. When you mentioned about the favorite matches and so forth, how could I leave that one out? And that was so great, because I always used to talk to McMahon about that he should have more scientific matches, because I thought that the people would enjoy it. But he, as many others, felt that not so. They said that people wanted to see the good versus evil, and that was the attraction. And in most cases, absolutely, that's true, it was. But on the other hand, when I wrestled Pedro Morales in Shea Stadium, we wrestled for 1 hour and 17 minutes. I thoroughly enjoyed it, even though the conditions were awful. It had rained for 3 days and 3 nights. It was very cold. It was on a September day. It was windy as can be. Like I said, continuous rain. And still, it was one of the best matches scientifically it was the best match I was in, because it was pure wrestling and it was lots of action. And in fact, we had so many wrestling promoters and wrestlers who came to see this match, and they all talked about what a great match it was. So that was a very, very memorable match. I had a lot of respect for Pedro Morales, and I enjoyed that match probably more than most, because it gave us the opportunity to give that kind of a match and showed to Vince, McMahon and others, that such a match would be received well, and it certainly was.
What really happened when you broke your neck against Stan Hansen?
Well, what really happened, it wasn't they tried to promote the lariat and all that nonsense. No, that wasn't it. The way we did was, the mistakes I used to make was that because I was so regular in Madison Square Garden, every 3 weeks or 4 weeks I'd be there, I sometimes didn't realize that somebody who had never been there before, especially if it's a younger guy, just the name of they'd be intimidated by the name of Madison Square Garden, such a famous arena, and they might be nervous just the thought of appearing in Madison Square Garden, usually a sellout crowd. And when Stan Hansen and I were wrestling, I thought we had a very good match for, I don't know, about 14, 15 minutes. And we're both sweating a lot. It was hot, and we had been moving well. And I was coming off the ropes with a tackle, and he came up with give me a body slam. And the way he lifted me up, and I don't know what happened, if he could hold me because we were both so sweaty, or the way he grabbed me, but he just drove me straight down. I came head first, straight down on the mat, and that's how I broke my neck.
At that point, Muhammad Ali was becoming involved. Were you supposed to wrestle Ali?
Well, I was supposed to wrestle him. We were the ones who went after that match, but Vince McMahon tried very hard to raise the money that they were demanding. They wanted $6 million. In those days, that was unheard of, at least in the wrestling business, $6 million, And Vince McMahon tried to get all the different promoters that he got along well with around the country to see if they would pitch in and come, to try to raise that kind of money, because he felt he felt that if we beat Muhammad Ali, it would be a great publicity for professional wrestling, and that it would do great in the box office, because in those days he was, of course, very hot, and I was very hot in the wrestling world. And so McMahon believed that we would set records as far as closed circuit, as they called it back then, and live gate and so forth. But like I said, when he tried very hard to raise the money, and when Japan found out about it, the television stations, I guess, and they had no trouble coming up with that money, so they made the offer for that amount to go with Antonio Inoki. And naturally, Ali went where the money was. Don't blame him, but they were able to do what McMahon wasn't able to do. He just was not able to raise that kind of money, and that's why the match didn't come off.
What memories do you have of dropping the belt to Ivan Koloff?
What memories do I have of losing it to Koloff?
Yes.
Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah, that was a weird one. First of all, the match was great. I thought we had a great match. But I thought that, getting beat by Koloff, I thought I would hear tremendous boos from the audience. And when he came off with that knee drop from the top rope across my neck, he landed hard, very hard, as a matter of fact. And so when the pin came on the tree, and I heard nothing, didn't hear a sound, I thought something had happened from the blow that I took that affected my hearing, because you could have heard the pin drop. And I got kind of nervous for a second. I thought, my God, what happened? What happened to And then Arnold Skoland, if you remember that name, he came to me, he was on my corner. He came to me like to check me out if I was okay, and he said to me, "Are you okay?" And I heard him very clear, and I thought, what the heck? How come I could hear him so clear and I'd hear nothing out there? So I said, "What's going on?" And she was like helping me up. I said, "Gosh, I don't hear a thing." He says, "My God," he says, "It's really spooky." So anyway, as I got up and he started walking out of the ring, were literally sobbing, telling me that they still loved me, that I was still number one. And then by the time I got to the dressing room, I felt awful, because I didn't expect that reaction. I thought people were just going to boo that the bad guy won the match, and that would be it. But when I saw how stunned they were, and how the place just went completely dead, and then to hear those people make those remarks, and I actually saw some ladies with tears, then I felt really terrible. I felt like I'd really hurt these people, and I went in the dressing room, and I must have sat in there for an hour, because I just felt so bad to see that those people reacted so sadly.
What is your memory of your second title victory over Stan Stasiak?
Well, that wasn't as great like in the first time, because after 8 years, first of all, I wanted out with those 8 years. I told McMahon I wanted out, because frankly, I was hurting. If anybody who knows me will tell you, I would never even take an aspirin. So when I was hurt, I would never take a painkiller. I would never take anything. And going practically I used to wrestle 7 days a week, 2 weeks out of the month. In other words, I would have 2 days off in the whole month, every other Sunday, and I would wrestle every day. And this went on for 8 years, and I was just beat. I was hurt. I ached all over. I had injuries, and I just was in a lot of pain. And I said, I got to get out. I can't go in that ring and be the way I want to be. I said, I got to get out. And finally, when that night with Koloff, I was glad, because I thought, now I can get healthy again. I can get my body rested up and get back into good training and so forth. And so after I did, and took off a little bit of time, and I relaxed the body completely, then I started training again, and training hard, and I started really feeling great. And then I started accepting matches here and there. Like I started going to St. Louis for Sam Mushnick. But if I took a match with him, then I would take another match till the following week. Then the Bruiser and I teamed up in the Midwest. So Dick and I, if Dick wanted me for 3 shows, let's say, I would accept those 3 matches, but I wouldn't accept anything for another 10 days or so. I'd go to Japan, for example. If I'd go for 10 days, I would make sure that I would, and then no bookings for at least a week or 10 days after I got back. And so I was really loving the business all over again, because I was wrestling at my own pace. time in between to be rested and to train, and I really loved it. So when McMahon approached me about another go at it, when things got really slowed down in his territory and things weren't really going too well, I told him no, that I wanted no part of any championships because I loved the way my schedule was. I was accepting matches as I chose in different parts of the country. I just loved it at that time, the way I was going, and he begged me practically. He said, 1 year, it's all I'm asking, 1 year till we find and groom somebody that we think will be great for our territory and that can carry on and be successful. And I didn't want it, but 1 year was the promise. So I accepted, and I wrestled Stasiak and got the belt. And 1 year went to two went to three. I kept reminding McMahon, but he kept saying to me, Bruno, please just hang on a little longer. We have somebody in mind. We have to